Source Nation. Join us live now for Transforming Your Mind with licensed couple and family therapist Shy Porter, as she sheds light on the many ways that your mental health can positively impact your daily experiences and how to best implement small changes that can have monumental effects on your quality of life. This show will quickly become your go-to source for great conversation, tips, and insight to help you achieve and maintain the healthy lifestyle you've always wanted. Source Nation, here is your host, Shy Porter.
Hello, Source Nation. Thank you for joining me again tonight. This is Transforming Your Mind with me, your host, Shy Porter. This is a show where I strive to help you achieve a positive mind-body connection so that you can live your most fulfilled life. I'm really excited about our show tonight with Jaketra Bryant, a licensed professional counselor. We're going to be talking about Black mental health. So I'm really excited to get to know her and figure out how we can help you live your most fulfilled life. So, Jaketra, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm really excited to have you on. I think that we can shed light on this really important topic, especially in light of Black History Month.
Yes, so, I agree.
Yeah, good. I know that you have your own show, so I'm sure that Source Nation family already knows about you. But in the event that some of them don't, can you just give me a little bit of a background about you and just let us know what exactly you do and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, so I am the owner and operator of B3 Mental Performance and also a licensed professional counselor. So my specialty areas primarily are working with sports teams, athletes, athletic trainers, and just building relationships with one another. So I specialize primarily with just like how we relate to one another and what that does with how our relationships look like, whether that's with work, family, within our children. And I also am the host of Family Mix Mondays with Source Nation Family, where I discuss breaking cycles that are happening within our families and inside of our homes.
That's awesome. That is excellent. So do you have a particular population that you say that you work with the most?
Yes. So I work with like athletes primarily, as well as like college students. So I work with at a main campus university in Georgia, and so I work with like the age population. Maybe my youngest is 18, and my oldest right now is actually 53. And they range from a wide range of ethnicity groups. So, but that is my primary. And then the next population are my athletic teams, and that's every sport, and that's working with their coaches and their trainers and the players and just the athletic staff. So those are my main groups.
Excellent. And is that what you do your professional counseling work? Is that the population your professional counseling work with, or is that for another area? As a licensed professional counselor, so there's my area. So I actually do a lot of mental performance with the athletes, and then the other portion I do with the university are students who may come in for depression, struggling to find their meaning for life, to spiritual disconnect, to eating disorders, to test anxiety. So a wide range with the university. So it's like half and half. So there's a sports side that I do, and then there's this other side that I do that is just regular, particular counseling of whatever issues that they're actually going through. Very nice. Excellent. So I'm excited to talk to you tonight about Black mental health in general in honor of Black History Month. And so as a couples therapist, I work with a wide variety of ethnicities as well. And I'd say a good portion of my casework is also with racial minorities, particularly Black people.
And I would say that there are certain things that do come up, not even as presenting problems, but just that are unique to couple relationships, to Black couple relationships in particular. And I'm wondering what sorts of things you have seen with your clients of color that you think impact our mental health as a community in particular.
So one thing that I have to mention is the stigma. Like, I think, like, some people may believe that, like, mental health has a color. I don't know where they get that from, but apparently they think mental health has a color. And so, or mental health only looks like schizophrenia, or it only looks like an addiction of some sort. So one of my biggest challenges of actually even getting Black men in is that it's just not for me. It's not like, you know, I'm definitely not going to talk to a woman and then I'm not going to talk to anybody about my problems, or, you know, and I'm going to fix them and solve them myself. So they are my most challenging group to even get in. And so it's really breaking past that stigma of just the idea of, okay, if I am not hearing voices, so I must not be, quote unquote, crazy. But if I don't have an addiction, then I'm fine too. So then that eliminates me, that I'm good, so I don't need to go and talk to anybody. And so, like, that's one of the challenges. It's grouped in this category of what people believe, like, mental health is. And that makes it even more challenging for the individuals to even come into the office. And that's across, like, age groups. So I'm not even seeing that this is something that's, like, older men or older Black women. It's like, if you're Black, then there's, like, this huge stigma centered around that, oh, only white people talk to their children, only white people send their kids to therapy. So definitely a huge stigma.
Yeah, and I will co-sign that, definitely. And I found that when people finally do come into therapy, it's because things have gotten so bad that they're on the brink of a nervous breakdown, or they had some sort of major blow up at work, and now they're court mandated to come to therapy. And so I'm curious, Sarah, about how breaking that cycle or framing counseling / therapy in such a way that makes it obvious that, no, everyone can benefit from this could be possible.
Yeah. So what I actually have lately, within the past, like, year and a half, started doing a lot of career days. And so I started with, like, a lot of elementary school and just educating them and on what mental health is. And this is actually how I explain to people when it's their first time. I literally go in and I talk about, like, physical health first. And I discuss, like I'll be in, particularly, like, when I go to elementary schools, and I'll be like, hey, kids, like, what do you do to stay in shape? And they'll be like, oh, we go to PE every day, or we run around. And so they'll talk about all these physical things. And I ask, well, what do you do, like what types of food do you eat? And they'll talk about vegetables and fruits, and they drink water. And so I talk about this necessity to actually keep your bones strong and to have them grow up and to have all these nutrients that they're needed to actually continue to, like, participate in class. And then I later talk about, like, the mental health. And I tell them that it's just the health of your mind. And I ask them, like, what do you do to recharge your mind or to get your mind going? And some will say, I go to sleep, or I learn something in class. And so I began by talking about the basics of what your mind, like some basic things of what your mind is even used for. And then I talk about the necessity of feeding that just as much as you're, like, feeding your physical health of it by the fruits and the vegetables and, like, exercising. And I talk about how, like, if you don't have sleep or if you don't pour certain things into your brain to actually make it, like, run smoothly, then just like your body physically begins to get tired, so does your mind. And so, like, I explain it like that, and I tell them that mental health, or the health of your mind, I turn it backwards all the time, is not like, you know, I hear voices. I talk to them about, like, it's my best friend was just in class with me and today they're gone. Or I was just in a car accident and, like, now I'm scared to drive. And so I talk about the basic everyday things that we actually go through that people seem to overlook. And I talk about that in such a basic level that they're just like, wait a minute, I was sad about this incident, or I had a breakup before that caused me a few days to get over, or I was really struggling through and I couldn't figure out why it happened. And I talk about real life situations that are actually the health of our mind, that our mind impacts with our thoughts and all these different things. And I just really just break it down to pretty much an elementary level, where everybody in the room has a situation they can relate to when I get done.
That makes sense. And you said these are for elementary school kids?
Yeah, whenever I go to career days, I'll do that for elementary kids. But I also, when it's someone's first time in therapy, then I do that for them as well. Like, I break it down on that same basic level and have them begin answering questions. And you'll notice that all the answers are really across the board. They're all going to talk about sleep. They're all going to talk about, like, they, like, read a book, or they are learning something, or they're paying attention, like, in class. Like, everybody's going to all say pretty much the same type of answers. And so, like, from there, that's when I really give a description of, like, the basic part of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And have you noticed a difference with their openness to considering therapy, if a need is evident for that, or openness about just talking about their feelings in general, or whatever is going on?
So a lot of my clients, so this semester at the university, like, we have a rise in male clients, which I was so surprised by, but so thrilled that, like, I 1 week got 3 new male clients in, but their girlfriends were actually referring them in. So I was like, I'll take it. So however you can get it, I'll take it in. And so, like, that was something that I was so thrilled about, that was happening. But I have seen it. So I recognize one thing with black clients, or just male clients, that being transparent and just letting them know, hey, as a black woman, like, I too have had counseling, and when my father died, and I too have had counseling, like finishing up grad school, and kind of just really being transparent, because a lot of times they're looking at this glory look of me. They're looking at me with my master's, me within this career path and doing these achievements, but they don't know the walk that it took. And so I break my walk down a lot, and I'm super transparent with them, and they find themselves relating more than they thought. And that helps them also to come back in the door too.
Sure. Yeah, giving that personal touch and saying, I've been where you are, or I understand what you're going through, or I have also needed therapy before, I think does help people connect with you and help you realize, okay, this person is not quote unquote better than me. They've gone through life too, and they've made it to the other side doing the thing that I'm pursuing now, which makes a lot.
Yeah, I think that helps, because, like, again, we're fighting against a stigma with society. We're fighting against mental health, even though it's a word. It's still like almost like saying, I don't know, some word that's just made up that a babbling kid is saying. And so, like, we're fighting against, like, we're literally, like, fighting against society. And so I think, like, when it comes to therapy, I always explain to people, like, I'm like, I don't really know how it's supposed to look, but this is how I do it. And my clients are always laughing. They're just like, well, I love it. And I was like, because whatever picture you had, like, it's not what this is. And so, like, I like to tell them that we're going to create our own picture in here. And so my office is, like, super, like, affirming. I have tattoos, and so, like, they, like, relate, and they're just like, wait, I just thought we were going to be laying on the couch, and you're going to be like, how do you feel? And I was like, no. No, not today. I guess.
Not today or ever.
Right. They don't give me a couch here. 2 regular chairs.
Source Nation. Oh, sorry. Source Nation, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Transforming Your Mind. I'm your host, Shy Porter, and tonight my special guest is Jaquitra Bryant, licensed professional counselor. We're discussing Black mental health, and so things that the Black community can be aware of as far as seeking mental health services, or just even changing their viewpoint on all that mental health services can provide to you. The phone lines are open. If you would like to ask Chiquita a question, please call in. The number is 619-924-0933, and then press option 1. Okay, so Chiquita, I also wanted to talk about the fact that there are so few Black therapists, right? Black therapists, counselors, et cetera, Black people in the mental health field. And I wonder how much of that is a deterrent for people who are seeking mental health therapy. I wonder, because our presence is so small, whether people say, well, I don't think I'll be able to find a therapist who gets me. And so if that is the case, how we can break through that.
Yeah, I agree. That is definitely a barrier. I think like there's a few elements in that, like our age. We're women. The majority are women, and if you're Black, majority of women are probably going to be under like 45 or under 50, and so that's another stigma. So like there's a whole lot of just breaking through when people are like, well, I want someone that looks like me, acts like me, talks like me, is the same height and size as me. And so like when you're looking for that, and then you got the other issue with males, like probably most likely more comfortable, just like a woman would most likely be comfortable with talking with someone who looks like them, sounds like them, shaves like them, stuff like that. And so like I do think that is a barrier. And I think one reason that's a barrier is because like the financial piece. I remember when I was first like coming into my master's program, and I had to do an unpaid internship, and my family was like, they're not going to pay you? Like, for your intern, like you got to go to work and they're not going to pay you. And so like they were just stuck on the fact that I wasn't going to get paid for my internship. And here I am thinking, well, this is a necessary sacrifice for my experience so that I can keep moving. But they were stuck on, wait, they're not going to pay you for this internship? And so I think a lot of it is the finance. I think people get turned off by like, oh, you're not going to be making these like, you know, triple digits or something like that unless you, you know, are really creative with it. And so they get stuck on that. But yet people don't realize like how much really goes into your mind and how much goes into the health of that to see that how much this is necessary to have a therapist, to have coaches, to have like psychologists, to have people who are actually taking the time to educate you about what's really going on. And so I think it's really like just a flipped upside down like system. And that's really unfortunate because people like size us like by the income and lack of understanding of it. And I think that makes it where this is like the secondary career choice. So like for my athletes, whenever they're failing out of something, and this thing just bothers me, oh my goodness, whenever they're failing out of something, they'll be like, oh, y'all didn't do well in this other subject. You can do sociology or psychology. And I get so insulted. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
like sociology or psychology, like it's like just a dismissal type of like field. And then the people are confused because it's just like, well, I don't know what psychology is. I don't know what sociology is. And it's just like on a list of like, you know, just the list of in the back of the doghouse. I don't know. And it's just so interesting. It just makes it really difficult for the people to come into this field and to really just know the necessity of it because it kind of early on in undergrad it gets a bad name.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with undergrad too, people kind of fall into. I think that sounds like it's a common thing across all campuses, like psychology, sociology, child and family studies, all those types of majors are just kind of catch the backwash of people who couldn't make it in other majors, which is really unfortunate because it does, like you said, set up a bad rep for those types of fields. And I do think so, somewhere in their minds people realize in order for me to do anything with this, I'm going to need to get an advanced degree. But because more often than not people don't go on to get advanced degrees, then they graduate with that degree in psychology or sociology, then they can't get a job or they can't do what they think they wanted to do. And so then it just perpetuates the stereotype.
Yep, I agree because it does. It really, like, you really do have to have a secondary step. And a lot of people are just like, man, I barely did these 4 years or these 5 years. And I really don't even know what I was learning. And so, like, you got all that plays against you. And then the people they're just sitting with that degree. And I think you can be like an admissions counselor. I think they'll take you. But it's very, very, but you can't move. Like, you can't move up in status and you can't move in finances. That's your finances. Unless you go on and decide to go on and get that other master's. And so people do. Like, this society is so ran off of the economical side and the fear of being poor or the fear of this, whatever this idea of I got to live like I got to live content or I got to live comfortably, whatever that is. And so people are stuck on that. And so we, unfortunately, are just not in the top respected people. They'll go to a doctor, and not knocking my MDs, but they'll go to a doctor for, like, the depressed medication and anxiety medication, like, in a minute. But will not come over to the therapist for any type of psychoeducation on it or what is causing this. They'll go to Facebook. I saw someone yesterday post a Facebook post, actually. It's like, I got anxiety. Y'all got any suggestions? I'm sorry, Facebook? Right. Not a therapist. You just ask Facebook. Just realize that. And so things like that. It's unfortunate.
Very. And I want to talk about the flip side of that, too. We talked about the financial piece as far as families of people who pursue mental health fields saying, oh, are you going to make any money with this? On the other side, I think one of the deterrents for therapy for people of color is the cost and access to care through insurance or non-insurance. I know that a lot of private practices don't take insurance. And so I wonder if you have any thoughts about how we can break through that barrier as well.
Yeah, I think, like, it's an investment. And so some insurance companies have started, because I don't take insurance, but what I do is I started offering, like, especially when I know this is someone's first time trying to even seek help, and it's big for them to seek help, like when I get a hold of that information, then I have started being like, well, do you have insurance? I don't accept it, but what I do is I accept your copay. And so, and just letting them know that, like, fees will kind of start moving up with a sliding scale, but let me get you in the door and then we'll figure some more stuff out. And so that's my kind of movement with my financial part of it. And but I only take a few clients on the side when I do that, because I'm still, like, I run more contracts than anything. Then I do a lot of individual stuff. But I do a lot of individual stuff, but they're in the contract. And so, like, that's something I think just a lot of people don't know that you have to meet a deductible on your insurance, and you are least likely to meet your deductible unless you're in a psychiatric hospital. So most people know they have insurance, but they really can only keep paying the copay to anybody anyway, unless that person takes insurance. And so part of it is, again, the education portion, taking another step forward. Just like you find out that you can have 100% wellness coverage, they need to be on the phone finding out, what is my mental health coverage? How many sessions can I see? What does this mean that I have not met a deductible? What does a deductible for an office visit for a counselor mean or look like? And just being on the phone. And so just the same as if you're picking that. It's just one of those things, like, people are going to have to realize that you can't physically do anything without mentally doing something. And so just like you can't mentally, like, I mean, it's saying vice versa. And so recognizing that this is equally as important will hopefully help. And also, like, education, like, sometimes people host a lot of free just mental health awareness or mental health awareness month and getting people involved in a lot of, what is it, like those community service boards, like here in Georgia, a lot of community service boards actually do low income to no income, and they're on a sliding scale. So you can actually sometimes get services for free or as little as like $1 if you just like really, really dig and call around. And or groups are very beneficial. If you can't afford, like, on the high end, $185 or $200 or something, or $150 office visit, then some groups are as low as $10 a group or $20 a group, and the groups can be interpersonal skills or how to build better relationships, just things like that you can actually, like, take a step and get involved in.
Right. And I will also say that a lot of universities have clinics on site if they have a therapy program there, and so those sorts of places also offer sliding scale fees, and are typically a lot less than private practices too, if cost is a prohibitive factor for you.
Yeah, and I know like with the university that I'm at, Georgia State University, ours is free as long as you're a student. No matter if you're an undergrad, grad,
Wow.
master's, like it doesn't matter. Like every single service is free except your prescription, but every single service is free. And so that helps. And so the kids have nothing to worry, the pre-adults have nothing to worry about whenever they come there. They just show their ID and they're in.
Yeah.
Stay a student.
So there are definitely supports in the community. So I encourage everyone listening to please, if this is something that you think would benefit you, please look into your community and things that are around you, because people are out here to help you. Okay, Chiquita, we are almost out of time, so I just want you to tell Source Nation how they can follow you and support you, and just give them the rundown of all your contact information if you can.
Yes, so I can be reached Twitter at Jaketra B. That's Jaketra. My website is mentalperformances.com, and email address is jabryant1913@gmail.com. And so either of those are best, and I definitely will answer emails. And you can follow me on LinkedIn at Jaketra Bryant. And that's also a great way.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being on here with me tonight. It was wonderful speaking with you about this very, very important issue, especially before Black History Month wraps up.
Yes, I agree. It's very necessary. So hopefully people will actually take the thoughts out of their mind about what they believe mental health looks like, and actually move forward and seek help if they need it.
Yes. Let us hope.
Yes.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, I look forward to talking to you again, hopefully soon. And in the meantime, best of luck with everything, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. All right, talk to you soon.
Welcome. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Source Nation, that was Jaketra Bryant, licensed professional counselor. She has some wonderful insight about Black mental health and ways that people of color in general can seek out different things in their communities, which is so important. And I really hope there were some takeaways that you got from that conversation that you can use moving forward. Join me next week for another amazing conversation. Please reach out to me via email or follow me on Facebook at Shy Porter Source Radio Network. My email address is shy@lindsayhoskins.com. Remember, this is Transforming Your Mind, where we strive to achieve a positive mind-body connection in order to live a fulfilled life. See you next Thursday, Source Nation family.